The high-grade After Colony Leo is the epitome of the perfect grunt suit kit. This right here is a kit designed with multiple builds in mind. So much so it's even repeated all over the box. The build is simple and fast, and even the runners are laid out in such a way that technically you don't even have to look at the instructions to build this guy. The joints are a great new two-part design that offer unparalleled simplicity and articulation in the knees and elbows. However, the reliance on ball polycap joints means some sections like the waist and ankles are prone to falling apart. On the whole, it really nails that classic Gundam Wing vibe. And combined with the price and ease of build, it's going to be hard to buy just one. Let's check it out. Hey, what is up everyone? Welcome back to another Gunpla review, and today I'm taking a look at this right here. And this has been a long time coming. Of course, this is the high-grade After Colony Leo, and Mobile Suit obviously a fan favorite from Mobile Suit Gundam Wing. And once again, this review right here would not be possible if it wasn't for those awesome people over at Hobbylink Japan. So if you're thinking of picking up a Leo of your own, then check out that link down there in the description. Now let's get to it. So once you finally get that box busted open and this thing snapped together, this is exactly what you will get with a little bit of panel lining. And I'm happy to say, this thing comes with no stickers. That's zero. None. And the first thing you'll notice about this is that they have absolutely nailed that old Gundam Wing look. This thing looks perfect. Before I go further into the aesthetics, I will mention that this is one of the simplest high-grade builds of all time. And I really feel it's 100% designed with building more than one of them in mind. First off, there's only 3 runners in the box. That's ignoring the beam sabers and the polycaps. And as you can see in the instructions here, they're all laid out really nicely on the runner, that the legs are in one section, the body in another, the arms in another. So technically you don't really need the instructions to build one, especially after the first build. So if you're planning on building 2, 4, 10, 20 of these guys, it's going to be absolutely no hassle whatsoever. And even in the subsequent building instructions, when you're moving on to the next parts, it does show, as you can see right here, that the parts that are already removed from the runners aren't shown. That's a first. And on top of that super organized runner, the Leo is a grunt suit that comes in at under $10, which means building a bit of an army won't be so expensive. So aesthetically, as for pros and cons, they've seriously nailed that old school wing look. We've got that big feet, baseball bat legs, small forward-facing head, mass-produced with the front lines, no frills look. This Leo is perfect looking. On top of that, we've got pro number 2. Plastic textures are back for this kit, which means that the red, green, grey is glossy. That's contrasted by the brown, which is in a semi-matte, and the black on the machine gun that we'll be looking at later, that is in a full matte. And all of that is topped off with a nice clear yellow piece in the front of the face. So for a kit at the bottom end of the price spectrum, this thing looks quite impressive. As for the cons with the way this thing looks, absolutely nothing. This thing is beautiful. As for a quick size comparison, here it is next to the real grade Tallgeese, the Master Grade Tallgeese 3, the Robot Spirits Ares, and one more time beside the Tallgeese, and you'll notice that it's not as tall as the Tallgeese, which means that this is technically correct, as the Leo is meant to be a scaled down version of the Tallgeese and a little bit shorter. So good on you, Bandai. I will mention though that this hasn't knocked the Greys off the top of my list as the best high grade grunt suit, strictly because there's so many customizable options out there for the Greys, but I'm hoping this isn't the last we see of the Oz grunt suits. But of course the Leo outright beats it with the nostalgia factor. So there is the high-grade Leo with everything that it comes with. So as you can see, this isn't a lot just a standard loadout, which may or may not be a pro or con depending on your perspective. If you're after a complete Leo kit with all the weapons, as well as a flight unit or space unit or anything like that, then this may be a bit of a con for you. But it does keep the price low, so if your goal is to build yourself a Leo army, then this is exactly what you're looking for. So in here we get the 105mm rifle, and just like I mentioned before, that is in matte black with glossy grey, which looks pretty damn good. We've got a moving handle here, and the drum can be removed like that. As for other weapons, we've got a standard set of standard beam sabers. We don't have any alternate manipulators in here, just your standard holding hands. And finally, we've got this shield, which has this moving section here that's on a ball joint. You can attach the beam saber handles in here when they're not in use. And in order to attach this, you just pop off the shoulder armor here and it attaches onto these sections. So that means you do have that little bit of up and down articulation as well once it's attached. So moving on to the articulation, and what can I say, I am impressed. This is mainly pros. The joints on this are simple but effective. The new style joints offer a great range of motion with minimal parts, which means it keeps the kit cheap, but at the same time they're not cutting back on that articulation. However, I will mention there is one bit of a con here, and that is the fact that all of the joints on this are just polycap balls. And for the most part, especially at the ankles and the waist, these are quite weak and fall apart a lot. You can probably tighten those up though, so it's not the biggest issue. As for the full articulation, surprise, surprise, there's nothing really at the neck, or is there? There is actually a ball joint in here that's probably for the upcoming high-grade build divers version, but that does mean you can get a little bit out of this just by pulling it off the ball. So you got your side to side. You can force it to somewhat look left and right, but of course, the Leo has no neck. So I'm sure most of the time you'll just be leaving it like this, looking dead on. The shoulders have those in and out polycap joints in there. Just like with the real grade tall geese, we've got these ball-like shoulders with a little slot there that allows them to move up and down. Not a whole lot of articulation really here, but mixed with the fact that this can spin all the way around, you're pretty much going to get all you want. And yeah, that's a weak joint. Full rotation here at the upper arm. This shoulder armor can move independently to the shoulder. There is the bend at the elbow. Once again, I'll mention these are simple and awesome joints. At the wrist, it's just your standard ball and socket. At the waist here, we have 3 completely different joints. That's a polycap ball there, a polycap ball there, and this one here is just a peg. But even though we have all that, we do get a little bit of forward and back there. Not a whole lot. It's same with side to side. And you can kind of force a little bit more by kind of pulling it up off the joint like that. So all in all, not too bad. The side skirting flips up. This is all one part. You can separate it. I didn't, but it's separated inside itself anyway. Side skirting's on a ball, so that means it has rotation there, as well as a bit of tilt up and down. At the waist, we've got a kick up to the front. Very nice. The kick out to the back, a little bit blocked by the rear thruster there. Almost the full splits. There is another polycap ball inside of these, so the legs can kind of move at that point there. I'll pull that off so you can see the polycap joint. It pops into that socket there. So you do get a little bit of movement there, as well as a little bit of side to side. And we have a rotating joint in here, so the legs can move forward and back. One impressive bend at the knee. I do like how it moves the armor there. That's just slotted into the front. So it's simple and again effective, just like I've mentioned so many times with this kit. The ankle armor moves a bit, but it's on a barely there ball joint that barely holds it. I mean, this will pop off all the time and spin around on you and drive you absolutely mad. They could have done something a little bit better with that, especially because that ball is attached to the ankle, which allows it to move up and down like that. So when that is attached and you try to move the foot down, that's going to auto pop off all the time. Lastly, the ankle is another one of those polycap ball and sockets. So you got up and down, full rotation, and that side to side tilt. So that is it for the review, and I have to say I am 100% definitely impressed. Bandai went exactly the right path with this kit. They kept it cheap and easy to build, but at the same time they redefined some of the joints, so that means they're both simple to snap together, but they still maintain a great range of motion. It is a bit limited at the waist, and those big polycap balls can fall out quite often, but definitely nothing too bad there. All in all, if you want yourself an army of Leos, then this is the perfect kit for you. As usual, if you want one of your own, then check out that Hobbylink Japan link in the description, and as always, make sure to come back for more Gunpla reviews. See you next time.